I want to begin not by identifying a problem, but by sharing a picture in my head. I want us to imagine a nation that has learned from its past, not one that forgets its wounds, but one that refuses to be ruled by them. A nation where courage is measured not by how loudly we shout, but by how steadfastly we choose justice. A nation where dignity is not rationed and where democracy is strong enough to survive disagreement without surrendering its soul. That is the vision Dr. King carried. And that is the vision that generations of Black Americans have carried, often without protection, often without power, but never without purpose. However, before we can fully embrace that vision, we must be honest about our reality. The reality that we are living through a moment of deep, deep division. A moment where fear is being weaponized, where violence is too often excused, where hate is repackaged as patriotism and cruelty is confused as strength. I wish I could say that this was new, but we have been here before. We were here when this nation was born in revolution, declaring liberty while still denying humanity. We were here when the Civil War tested whether a nation conceived in freedom can endure half enslaved and half free. We were here through emancipation when freedom was promised, but justice was deferred. We were here through Jim Crow when law itself became an instrument of oppression. We were here during the Civil Rights Movement when Dr. King reminded us that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And we were all here when George Floyd cried out for his last breath. Many of us were here in the streets and in the courts and in the conscience of this country during the Black Lives Matter movement, because again and again, history has tested whether this nation would choose fear or courage. Again and again, Black Americans have answered not with surrender, but with resilience. That is the heartbeat of our American story. Because every time oppression has risen, so did a people who understood something profound. That responding to dehumanization by becoming dehumanizers ourselves will cost us our humanity. Dr. King warned us about this. He said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." This was not naive optimism. It was disciplined resistance. It was the recognition, echoed later by scholars from around the world, that oppression deforms not only the oppressed, but the oppressor as well. That liberation that we seek, it's not about reversing roles. It's about ending the cycle altogether. So let us be clear. Meeting violence with violence does not make us free. Meeting hate with hate does not make us righteous. And meeting injustice by abandoning our moral compass does not make us strong. What it makes us is lost. Dr. King understood that the struggle was not just against unjust systems, but against the temptation to let those systems reshape our values. He reminded us that means and ends are inseparable, that the way that we fight determines the world that we build. So today, my friends, here's the dream we must choose. A dream where resilience is not mistaken for silence. A dream where justice is pursued with courage, not cruelty. A dream where accountability does not require annihilation. A dream where our children inherit not our anger, but our wisdom. A dream where we remember that democracy is not proven when it is easy, but when it is tested. That is the work before us, not just to pass laws, but to model leadership, not just to win arguments, but to safeguard our shared humanity, not just to condemn violence, but to refuse to normalize it. So on this Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I offer a call to action, not one of spectacle, but one of substance. Let us recommit to the hard, unglamorous work of justice. Let us reject the lie that cruelty is strength. Let us refuse the false choice between accountability and compassion. Let us be bold enough to believe that democracy can still be shaped by moral courage. And let us remember that every generation has been asked the same question. Will you inherit the struggle, or will you advance it? Dr. King answered that question with his life. Black Americans have answered it with their resilience. Now, it is our turn. Will you join me?